Something already dead, something no good.
For instance, when a cat appeared, the man shrank back.
And the Loch Ness monster.
How in an ash tree the spaces? How in the spaces the pushing?
It's lovely to be here. Absolutely fantastic to be in. Isn't this a lovely space? Well, it's the first time I think we've had a poetry reading here. And I just think it's fantastic. Well done, Vicky. Yes, I'd like to read just a few poems tonight. Starting with a new one. It's one that I've written recently, but it was a long time coming, so to speak. It was. I'd had an image in my mind for as long as I can remember, like a dream of a frozen pond or lake with skaters on it, and watching them and then suddenly realising or thinking that one of them might be blind. And I don't know why that appealed to me, but it did. Anyway, this is the poem. It's called For Any Other Safety. Out there on the ice, sighted and blinded are hand in hand, both blessed with a gift of moltenness. They err only in entire curves, gliding in spate, with no let, as if reborn in the quick, and blameless, out on the edge, with no burden to be borne. And as I watch, look, she's let go, and he is free, trusting the space ahead that is no longer dark in his mind, but ablaze with glister and glint and all the lost light that he feels now streaming round his face. What would you say, she said, if I told you we were closer then than ever in our lives, trusting our freedom with no need or any place to be hidden or any other safety?
Because quite often I don't really know where they come from, especially the first two. So they may appear to be connected because both of them have got mice in, but that's just one of those things. Okay. Man and mouse. Are you a man or a mouse? Said the man to the mouse. And knowing what I know of men, I'm glad to say I'm a mouse, said the tiny brown rodent. Could be wrong, but I think not. He turned unhurriedly to his hole and disappeared. Then the man doubted himself in the face of such assurance. He lay down and tried to get into the hole. Though his logic told him, if you can't get in, you can't be a mouse, he was not convinced. He felt there must be other criteria he was missing. For instance, when a cat appeared, the man shrank back against the wall, shaking, making himself as small as possible. Even so, he felt relieved. I must be a mouse, he thought. But then his wife caught him down for his dinner and mentioned that afterwards it would still be light enough to cut the grass.
But I do feel it very pressingly, so that's possibly what it's about. The first one's called Eclipse. Two spheres align with laser precision in a black universe, all Euclid and metaphysics. The event happens in its own time. Time the event cannot own, for the event is random and unknowing. A disk of light is occluded by a disk of darkness, which in its own time it cannot own, will re-emerge to irradiate the immeasurable darkness. The order that aligns the spheres charges me in my own time I never own, to bear witness with what unlaser-guided words I can to the falling outline upon outline on the shape and pattern of their intent, the random and unknowing light and shade of my own small, colossal, cosmic event. Our particle experiment has failed. The underground circuit still guards the black holes not yet formed that will show us where you are not. It will be all nanogalaxies, micromoons, infinitesimal space when we create creation. We may praise our magnets and electrons when matter we cannot see collides with matter we cannot see, and we may celebrate that you are not present. Yet, if present, unseen like atoms colliding with their random selves, God shrapnel may well result. And that might be the unseen matter that would suck a sad and well-intentioned physicist into a dimension he might not call grace, and never would in molecule, atom, or holy place. The hearts, full of longing, enter the collider, spend an eternity of electricity, circuiting, expecting, and colliding with nothing.
But sometimes you write a thing and you can get back in and you can say, oh yeah, there's a sort of an intellectual engagement with it where you can say it's rational, or you can follow an argument. This one, I don't really know how I came up with it. It arose out of just simply standing again outside the house and just listening to the sound of the sea and the wind and just looking around, really. Anyway, it's called How in an Ash Tree. How in an ash tree the spaces. How in the spaces the pushing and gestures open and quitting the wind. How the wind shows it tells what it's round. In the yard bounded by buildings, listening into the distance, the sea sends in how in its sounds, its traffic notes, in its sleep turning over, intends to repeat itself. How the decibels shush and roar, soft in the shell of the yard. How in the sounds, the shoal of the world. How in the world, the pushing will. Going back to the beginning. How in an ash tree the spaces. How in the spaces the pushing and gestures open and quitting wind. How the wind shows it tells what it's round. In the yard bounded by buildings, listening into the distance, the sea sends in how in its sounds, its traffic notes, in its sleep turning over intends to repeat itself. How the decibels shush and roar soft in the shell of the yard. How in the sounds the shoal of the world. How in the world the pushing will. Thank you.